My name is Valerie. I'm 32. Tonight is my mother's birthday dinner. She lifts her glass before dessert. We've changed all the locks, she says. Voice clear enough for the waiters to hear. Forks pause midair. Someone laughs. Too late to hide the sound. The envelope sits between the candles. My name printed, not written. Inside, a copy of the property statement. Every line ending with her signature. Not mine. I look at the numbers until they stop meaning money. My sister leans forward, smiling the way people do when they win something they never earned. It's just business. Val. You understand. The waiter adjusts a glass near my elbow. Eyes darting away. He's the only one who looks unsure which side of the table to face. I don't move. My hand rests on the napkin like it's glued there. Breath shallow. Steady. The room keeps talking. Softer now. Like a play continuing after someone forgets their line. Across the table, my mother folds her menu. Satisfied. I watch the motion. Mechanical and neat. Inside, something colder settles. Precise as a blade laid flat on marble. My lawyer was already waiting. The noise fades without leaving. Laughter thins. Turns into clinking porcelain. I stay still. My fork untouched. My pulse slow. The chill from the air vent brushes my neck. Clean and exact. Mom keeps speaking. Listing renovations. Future plans. All with the tone of someone confirming victory. My sister nods. Performing agreement. Their words move around me like glass beads rolling on tile. I lift the envelope once more. Fold it carefully. Place it beside my plate. My reflection in the wineglass looks detached, as if it belongs to someone waiting for a cue. No one asks what I think. That's the habit they built. Absence, mistaken for consent. Silence mistaken for weakness. I take a breath that doesn't shake. The kind you learn after years of explaining nothing. The kind that builds walls instead of arguments. Across the room, the waiter pretends to polish a tray. Our eyes meet for half a second. Witnesses rarely understand what they see until later. My sister's bracelet clinks against her glass. Don't make it a thing, she murmurs. The phrase lands like dust light. Dismissive. Already forgotten. Inside, nothing rises. No fire. No noise. Just the quiet certainty of sequence. I'm not losing anything. They already handed me the proof I needed. I fold my napkin, aligning each edge. Movements precise enough to pass for calm. My breath anchors the room. One thought settles. Clean as frost on steel. They taught me silence. They'll learn what it sounds like back. But before I tell you how I got here, you need to know where it began. It didn't start at that dinner. It started earlier, in theater rooms. Muted daylight on a hallway that never changed its color. Our house kept a schedule. Lindsay stood in the front of pictures. I stood at the edge, holding the coats. Holiday speeches circled her name, then moved on as if nothing had been missed. Because nothing official seemed missing when smiles filled the frames and the mantel kept only one diploma in view. Glass polished so clean it brightened the whole shelf. The pattern was simple. Dad asked her first. Mom praised her longest. I carried the folding chairs from the garage and counted plates. If something broke, I swept before anyone noticed. While they decided who should sign a card or cut a ribbon. At the table, I learned the gaps. 4 chairs faced the window. I took the one by the wall. The plate with a small chip always found me. It was easy to remember its notch with my thumb. A tiny compass that pointed down. The routine moved like clockwork. She brought stories. I brought refills. She took the seat nearest the light. I cleared the sides. Mom tapped her glass when quiet was needed. And quiet arrived near me first. Because I knew how to hold it long enough for the room to settle while they staged another toast about milestones that belonged to someone else. And I watched the condensation slide down pictures like slow handwriting that never included my name. A micro-shock line arrived in small packages. Let your sister sit there. Don't make it about you. Be useful. Vale. The words didn't sting. They arranged furniture. Hands moved. Chairs scraped. The hallway breathed. I kept count. The knife went on the right. The napkin folded smooth. If a candle sputtered, I trimmed the wick with the back of a spoon. When the doorbell rang, I opened it before the second chime. And my throat tightened only once. Quickly. Like a door chain catching and releasing, when a guest smiled past me to reach the living room where the cameras waited. There was a photograph I passed daily. Lindsay on the porch. Sunlight on her shoulder. The frame stayed centered above the console. My reflection hovered in the glass when I dusted it, brief and off to the side. If I paused, fingerprints showed the arc of my cleaning. I learned to buff in straight lines so I wouldn't leave a map. Dinner taught repetition. She gave updates. I timed the oven. She raised a glass. I steadied the platter. Valerie, can you pour dabless? Came from somewhere near the head of the table. And the room always looked relieved when my hand appeared with the pitcher. The measured stream, holding steady even when chairs shifted, and the dog thumped the floor near my feet like a metronome I didn't control. My breath stayed small. My shoulders stayed even. The chipped plate held its place. When laughter lifted, I lifted with it just enough to pass. Then returned to the wall where the paint matched my silence, and the clock clicked through courses as if counting a duty already assigned. The first betrayal arrived quiet, wrapped in a favor. I had won a small scholarship, enough to cover books. Mom told me she'd used it to help Lindsay's tuition balance. She needs it more, she said, stacking envelopes, her tone brisk, practical. The kitchen light hummed. I stared at the paper that now read paid. No one remembered to mention it again. At dinner, Dad congratulated Lindsay for managing her finances. Mom nodded toward me. You'll get another chance. The line sounded clean. Official. Final. I sliced the roast, counting how many pieces could fill every plate except mine. After that, I stopped explaining. Questions became interruptions. Interruptions became noise. It was easier to stack silence, brick by brick, than rebuild a story no one wanted to hear. Years pressed into routines. When they needed something fixed, I was there. When they needed credit, I disappeared. Each favor built a wall thin, polished, invisible. Once, a teacher asked why I never spoke during group projects. My hand tightened around the pen. It's easier this way. The class laughed, thinking it was a joke. It wasn't. Silence turned into reflex. The more I stayed quiet, the smoother the house ran. They called it maturity, reliability, peacekeeping, anything but surrender. I remember one night clearly. Mom rehearsed a speech for Lindsay's award banquet. I sat nearby, folding programs. When she said, "We're so proud of our daughter," she didn't glance at me. That was the moment the air thinned. A rehearsal of omission repeated too often to notice. From then on, I learned to breathe between their words, not inside them. To nod without promise, to agree without sound. They got comfortable with my silence. They thought it meant obedience. They still gather at the same table, same plates, same chair near the wall. Mine, the chipped edge remains, hidden under a folded napkin. The conversations have aged but not changed. Lindsay speaks first, about the house, the kids, the renovations. Mom nods on rhythm, her hands rehearsed from years of hosting. I pour water, not because they ask, but because the motion keeps me steady. Dinner slides into habit. Someone compliments the kitchen remodel. Mom smiles. Lindsay managed all the details. Valerie helped with small things. The sentence lands soft but precise. Cutlery taps. Laughter follows. No one corrects her. The repetition is perfect. She said it. She said it again. She said it once more. My sister leans closer. Voice smooth. You don't mind, right? You never liked attention. The glass in my hand reflects her grin, thin as a reflection that's already cracked. The waiter brings another bottle. The cork pops. The sound small but exact. They toast to progress. I count seconds between their clinks. 6 beats. Then the same silence that used to fill hallways when I was 12. Waiting for them to notice the difference between presence and participation. Later, the topic shifts to bills. Mom slides a folder across the table. Calm as a banker. Mortgage renewal, she says. Since your name's still there, we'll need your signature again. The paper smells like toner and control. I scan the total at the bottom. The same number I used to transfer each month. It's just a formality, she adds, casual enough to sound planned. A formality that costs me another year. Lindsay's hand rests over the folder as if it's already hers. Dad pours wine for both of them, skipping my glass. I keep my hands flat. The table hums with small talk about family pride, how loyalty holds things together. The word loyalty rolls across the linen like a coin that never stops spinning. The noise rises, controlled and polite. The waiter clears plates, the scrape of porcelain like a quiet alarm. Nobody hears it. Nobody ever does. Mom leans back, sighs. The sound practiced. You've always been reliable. Valerie, that's your strength. It sounds like gratitude until it isn't. Because reliability means ownership. I nod once. Nothing more. The light from the chandelier cuts across the documents. I watch the reflection dance over my thumb. It looks like movement, but it's still the same chain. They keep talking about the future. I listen long enough to confirm the script hasn't changed. They speak in circles, each one a polished echo of the last. Something in me stops adjusting to the rhythm. The knife's handle is cold, resting by my plate. I touch it once. Not to use. Just to remember its temperature. The waiter hesitates before reaching for the folder. He glances at me, eyes flicking to my hands. Then to Mom. She gives a small nod. Dismissive. Practiced. He leaves it there, beside my plate, as if the table itself demands obedience. Around us, the voices keep moving. Cousins. Neighbors. A few business friends. The air thickens with polite noise. The sound of people pretending they don't see the imbalance. Forks lift and settle. A rhythm of collective avoidance. Lindsay opens her phone. Scrolling mid-conversation. Mom, did you want me to transfer the payment from Valerie's account or yours? She says it casually. Almost lazy. But the words split the air clean. I hear someone choke softly into a napkin. No one speaks after that. The silence expands. Mom clears her throat. Recovering first. She knows how it works, she says. The others nod. Pretending this is normal. The way weather is normal. The humiliation is public now. Efficient and shared. I sit still. The documents shine under the chandelier. Light trembles on the ink. Steady on my face. Every gesture, rehearsed through years of repetition, comes back. Fold hands. Breathe shallow. Stay contained. They have crossed the line. But they don't know it. Not the money. Not the form. It's the certainty. They believe I'm permanent furniture in their story. Someone laughs. A sharp sound. Too quick to feel real. The room resumes motion. Chairs. Scrape. Glass clinks. A cousin asks for more wine. The waiter returns. His tray wobbles once before he steadies it. He's seen enough to understand the imbalance without naming it. Mom's voice smooths over the gap. You don't mind signing tonight, do you, Valerie? Her tone carries the weight of expectation, not request. I look at her. Then, at the empty glass before me. For the first time, I don't reach for the bottle. No one fills the space. The laughter fades into a kind of waiting. I place my pen on the table, perpendicular to the folder. The sound is small, definite, a final. They keep talking, but the words pass through static. The chandelier hums. The papers wait. My pulse slows until I can't hear it. Something inside me separates, clean and quiet. I stopped listening. The next morning looks ordinary. The house holds its shape, curtains half drawn, light muted and beige. Coffee drips slow into a glass pot. I move through it the way one walks through an empty station. Every sound arrives with distance. Forks, water, air. None of it belongs to me anymore. The table is still set from last night. 2 plates missing. One left behind. Rim, faintly stained. I start to clear it. Knife to plate, plate to sink. Each motion steady, measured. The hum from the refrigerator fills the space where words used to live. Mom hums in another room. Soft, automatic, like static from an old radio. No one notices. I'm already detached. Lindsay's laughter from the hallway sounds recorded. She says something about errands. The words sliding across the tile like dropped change. I nod once, enough to keep the rhythm intact. Surface calm feels lighter than pretending. In the mirror, by the door. My face looks rested, but sharper. I fix a loose button, smooth the fabric flat. The gesture anchors me. The old ache doesn't visit anymore. It waits at the threshold. Uncertain, the crack begins in silence. Not loud, not visible. Just a stillness that stays. I pour water into a glass. Stop before it's full. A line of sunlight cuts across the counter. Pale and exact. I watch it until it fades. My hands no longer twitch. Breath holds its shape. There is space between heartbeat and thought. Wide enough for decisions to stand. Something in me went quiet for good. The phone buzzes on the counter. Brief. Mechanical. I let it buzz again. Then pick it up. Type one line. Send it. No pause. The message leaves the screen clean. No names. No emotion. Only information moving in order. Outside. A car door closes. Echo, low. I listen to it without flinching. This is what calm sounds like when it hardens. I rinse the glass, place it upside down to dry. Then I open the drawer and remove the envelope from last night. It lies flat in my palm, lighter than expected. I open the window a little, let the air change color. It smells like paper and distance. I stay by the window until the light shifts. The edges of the frame glow faintly gold, fading toward gray. Outside, someone walks a dog. The leash clicks against metal. The sound is small, certain. Inside, the air holds steady. The refrigerator hum merges with distant traffic. It's the sound of continuity, but it belongs to someone else now. I move through it, tracing outlines that used to define me. On the counter, the envelope waits. I slide it into a folder, press the edges flat. My handwriting marks the corner. One line date. No subject. It feels like the first thing I've owned in years. I walk to the hallway. Each step lands quiet. Heel, then toe. The rhythm is deliberate, almost ceremonial. The light bulbs hum above, faint and constant. In my room, the air smells of paper and clean fabric. A drawer opens. Soft sound against wood. I place the folder inside. Close it slowly until the click sounds like punctuation. No rush, no tremor. My phone rests on the desk. I type one number, not a name. The screen glows. Waiting. The message forms. Brief. Mechanical. I send it. Then I turn the phone face down. Enough. I whisper. Not to anyone. The word settles like dust. It belongs to the air now, not the argument. I sit. The chair creaks once, then holds. My hands rest still, palms open. Every noise in the room falls into alignment. Fridge hum. Light buzz. City breath. They sync, like the world adjusting to a quieter frequency. The calm feels functional, not peace, not surrender. Something between pause and command. I rise, straighten the curtain edge, and leave it half open. Power doesn't announce itself. It just stops asking permission. The hall is bright again. Same lights, same arrangement. The table has been extended for guests. Silver cutlery glints under the chandelier's white glare. I arrive last. My shoes make no sound on the tile. Lindsay waves briefly, confident, rehearsed. Mom stands at the center, her voice steady from practice. This dinner, she says, marks our next step as a family. The crowd claps. The sound, soft, rhythmic, unaware. I sit near the end of the table. The same chipped plate waits. The chair creaks once, then settles. I rest my hands flat, calm as porcelain. They start passing documents down the line, new mortgage agreements, a printed copy of some trust. Mom explains in polished phrases about family succession and responsibility. Her tone belongs to a presentation, not a conversation. The words float above the table like dust in bright light. She slides a page toward me. I'll need your signature, she says. The pen sits ready beside the paper. Black ink, gleaming. Her hand hovers, expecting compliance. I take the page, skim the lines. The numbers match the ones from last month. Only one change. The name field. It already reads mine. I fold the document once. Slow, deliberate. Paper rustles. Someone coughs near the end of the table. Mom's smile flickers, a second too short to hide the shift. The lawyer at the far corner looks up. He clears his throat. It seems Ms. Valerie already finalized the transfer, he says. Voice, careful, neutral. The air breaks. Two forks stop midair. Lindsay laughs once, thin and forced. That's not possible. Her bracelet taps the glass, sharp like a signal misfired. The lawyer opens his folder, removes a stamped copy. The seal glints under white light. The house wasn't theirs anymore. Gasps ripple down the table. No one breathes deep enough to fill the silence. Mom's hand hovers over the papers, frozen mid-motion. The pen rolls, slow, across the tablecloth, leaving a faint trail of ink. I sit still, no expression, no sound. The room feels narrower, the air filtered through disbelief. Light hits the silverware, scattering fragments of white across their faces. Every reflection carries my name. Someone shifts in a chair. Wood creaks, long and low. The chandelier hums above us. Its bulbs steady. The scene holds, unbroken. I don't move yet. Stillness finishes what words can't. Mom speaks first, voice barely tethered. This must be a mistake. Her fingers search the page, as if meaning could rearrange itself under pressure. Lindsay leans forward, reaching, but the lawyer's hand stops her gently. The signatures are valid, he says. His tone doesn't tremble. The sound of paper against wood follows final, undeniable. Every motion in the room pauses to listen. Light thickens on the table. The chandelier hum carries like static. Someone exhales too loudly. Then silence closes around it again. I place my glass down. The tap echoes once. Clean. No arguments come. Only glances flickering. Searching. Refusing to land. Dad's voice starts and dies in the same breath. I look at the reflection of his tie in the knife beside my plate. It sways slightly with his heartbeat. I slide another envelope toward the center. Bank receipts, printed in black and white. A record of every payment, every transfer, every quiet favor. The pages fan open like wings, precise and unshakable. The truth doesn't need volume. Lindsay pushes her chair back. The legs scrape the floor. Long. Scraping, she stands, red with confusion, but no words arrive. Her image catches in the mirror behind her, smiling from habit, fading by the second. Mom turns to me, eyes glassy. mouth rehearsing excuses. The light cuts across her face, drawing a line that separates past and present. Her breath trembles once, like paper about to tear. I lift the final sheet, the ownership confirmation. Embossed seal, catching the light, white on white. It glows. I place it flat before her. No gesture, no sound. The lawyer clears his throat again. For the record, Ms. Valerie's authority is complete. His words drop like stones into still water. The ripples stop before reaching me. No one speaks. The air changes weight. The chandelier reflects in every glass surface, scattering small points of white across their clothes. Every shimmer looks like an answer that arrived too late. I stand. The chair slides back quietly, controlled. My footsteps move through the quiet like punctuation marks. No applause. No confrontation. Just the weight of recognition settling where pride used to be. At the doorway, I pause long enough to hear the room inhale, shallow and confused. Paper rustles behind me. Of chairs creak. Voices fall into whispers that don't hold shape. I step into the hallway. Cooler. Enders, any two pros. Dimmer. Clean. The sound fades. No one spoke after that. No one moves. The room stays bright. Too bright. Chairs remain half-turned. Bodies caught mid-thought. Even the air feels paused between inhale and release. Mom still stands near the table. Her fingers rest on the edge. Knuckles white. Lindsay's bracelet has stopped moving. It catches the chandelier's reflection. One frozen spark among glass. No voices rise. No one clears a throat. The only sound is the soft shift of fabric as someone finally sits back down. Slow and unsure. It's the sound of realization filling the room where certainty used to live. I wait. My hands at my sides. Palms open. I count the seconds until their silence becomes a language of its own. No one knows how to speak it yet. Lindsay leaves first. Her chair scrapes the floor. Then nothing. Her footsteps fade down the hallway, uneven and fast. The door doesn't close. It just swings. Slow, letting air drift in. Dad bends to collect a fallen napkin. He folds it twice, places it on the table, then stares at it as if it might explain the order of things. The action keeps him occupied, safe from words. Mom exhales once. Like a prayer caught between disbelief and habit, her voice never comes. Only her hand moves, tracing the rim of her glass without lifting it. The sound is faint, circular, and endless. People begin to stand. Quietly. Chairs slide back, careful not to make noise. The chandelier hum grows louder in their retreat. The light spreads thinner, like morning dissolving into air. I stay until the room is half empty. The lawyer nods once from the corner, collecting his folder without meeting my eyes. Paper slides against paper. He leaves a single copy on the table before walking out. I gather what's mine. A folder, a key, a calm that fits perfectly. I place each item into my bag with the same rhythm I used to set the table. This time, there's nothing to serve. The door waits open at the end of the corridor. I walk toward it. The carpet softens every step, the sound sinking into stillness. Behind me, the air begins to breathe again. The hallway air is cooler. It smells faintly of polished wood and dust. Light filters through narrow windows, turning beige on the floor. Each step feels measured, unhurried. I pause by the doorway. Outside, dusk settles like fine powder. The cars hum faintly in the distance. Ordinary, unaware. Behind me, the muffled rustle of chairs fades. I stand still. The stillness feels complete, not empty. A pulse of quiet wind moves through the open space. Soft, against my wrist. The skin cools, then steadies. A thin curtain sways at the edge of vision. Its hem grazes the wall, making a soft brushing sound. I watch it until the motion slows. It's the first moving thing that doesn't demand attention. My breath evens. The folder in my hand holds weight without burden. I shift it under my arm. Grip light. Secure. No need to open it again. At the far end of the hall, the door to the patio stands half open. The evening air enters dry. Pale. Deliberate. I step through it. The hinges sigh once. Low and final. Outside. The light changes color. Beige turns gold. Then white. The sound of the city hums below. Steady as a heartbeat, not my own. It continues without noticing the absence of one voice. I close the door gently behind me. The latch clicks. Exact and soft. The sound marks the border between noise and quiet. Between what was shared and what's now mine. I breathe once. Deep, unmeasured. The wind lifts a loose strand of hair, then lets it fall. Everything holds its place again. Peace doesn't need witnesses. Wind slides through the doorway I left open. Light folds over the floor like paper closing on itself. I stay until the air stills. Then I leave. And the silence stays.